Hello all and welcome, and we're going to do another DVD review. Imagine that! Well, because there's basically two that I actually cared about. This one being Legends of Mid-South. Yes, and with Roberts on the cover, even though he's on the DVD, but he's not in the DVD as much as you probably like. But anyways, if you don't know kind of why this is a big deal, Mid-South was kind of the number 3 promotion, particularly after the kind of the death of the territories. You had Mid-South. I think Mid-South went out after AWA, if I remember right. So they were like the last, besides the Fort Sprocket. But their tape library had been Bill Watts, who owned Mid-South. His wife and their divorce got the tape library, or the majority of the tape library, so WWE didn't have it. They'd been negotiating about it, and finally they got it, so finally we got a Mid-South DVD. And even though, a lot of people had been wanting it because the television for Mid-South had always been really good. I never got to see it myself, even though I lived in Houston. I think I moved to Houston the year that Mid-South got sold to Crockett, I think, if I remember right. So a lot of Mid-South I don't remember. I don't remember being able to see, if I did. Where I got to see World Class, I got to see some AWA, I got to see some other promotions. I never really got to see much of Mid-South. But the thing was that this was early Junkyard Dog, this was early Jim Duggan, this was early Ted DiBiase, of course, Dr. Death Steve Williams. You had the Freebirds had gone there, the Midnight and Rock and Roll Express. That's kind of where their feud, as we know it, kind of began. And of course, you had this little team called the Blade Runners, which a lot of people have no idea who it was, who were Sting and Ultimate Warrior as a tag team. And that's really, as weird as it sounds, and the matches aren't very good, and it was, a Road Warriors ripoff, to kind of historians, that's the footage that people had always kind of craved after, because it's very rare footage to start with. There's not a lot of it out there. And so this DVD, hopefully we were going to get a lot of that stuff, and we did. It's as a DVD, it's very good. There is not a documentary per se. It's much like a lot of the newer DVDs, where you don't get a documentary as much as you get some guys talking about some stuff, and then you get a match, and then you get some guys talking about some stuff, and you get a match. So you get kind of a documentary, but not really. They kind of talk about stuff leading up to the match they're talking about. Now, I will freely tell you, on this DVD release, the matches are not that great. Disc 2 is probably the best of the 3 discs on the DVD that I can kind of think of. Though disc 3 is pretty good too, and there's good stuff throughout, but a lot of it is storytelling. A lot of it is, as you're watching it and you're seeing a lot of these matches, and you're seeing these matches kind of lead up to each other, there's just stuff that makes you want to see this stuff. And that's what, when you hear people talk about Mid-South, that's what everyone always talked about, was that the TV was so good. And so we didn't get a lot of the house shows, because the way Mid-South worked, they didn't have pay-per-views. It was old school. The TV sold the house shows. You went to the big house show. That's where they made their money, and then you did TV again. Jim Ross apparently went back on the stuff that they did have footage of from, the big matches from the house shows, and went back and actually did commentary over it, as though he was there actually calling it, which is something to behold. You really can't tell. If you didn't know, you really wouldn't know which ones they were, so big hats off to him. He had this was like the last thing he did for WWE before he was fired. This was released days before he was fired. And I say fired, retired, quote unquote. And so here we go. DVD is very good. Again, this is not, if you're looking for wrestling matches, this isn't it. If you're looking for kind of, it's got most of the really important stuff here, though. You've got, of course, the Jim Duggan Ted DiBiase. Let's throw every gimmick, and Russo is probably having a wet dream about this match, which is something to behold. But there's, like I said, storyline-wise, there's lots and lots of good stuff here, and it's very, very entertaining. That's the one thing about the wrestling. There's not a lot of great wrestling, but all the wrestling is very entertaining. This is definitely something to see. I am glad that WWE has this stuff now because, for example, if we ever get a Sting DVD, there's lots of stuff on here, particularly Sting as a heel, which is not something that, saved for the botched heel stuff that TNA did, that no one's ever really seen. And unfortunately, it's probably the one-ish thing about this DVD is you don't get a lot of Eddie Gilbert stuff, which is unfortunate. There's a lot of stuff. Let's face it, there's a lot of stuff. It's a 3-disc DVD. They weren't able to go over everything. There's not a 2.5 hour or even a 2-hour documentary for them to really go in depth into the whole promotion and all of that sort of stuff and kind of all of that. So there's a lot that's not there. But what is there is very good, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think they did a great job. Ted DiBiase, I think, is the guy that really talks a lot about what's going on. A lot with Jim Duggan, too. You see Jim Duggan probably not as a lot of people, if you'd ever just seen his WWE stuff that you'd ever really seen. Same thing with Junkyard Dog. You really don't see, most people haven't probably seen Junkyard Dog kind of like this. The matches, like I said, there's not anything really great. Let's see, on disc 1, let's see, what's on disc 1 that's in here? I mean, you get stuff like, for example, on this deal, because again, it's mainly TV stuff. You get like Ted DiBiase and Paul Orndorff on a TV match that went to the TV draw. You get Andre the Giant, Dusty Rhodes, and Junkyard Dog taking on Alpha Saka and Big Cat Ernie Ladd, which again was a TV match and really probably not something anyone ever really wanted to see. You get some Junkyard Dog stuff. You get Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Ted DiBiase. This is get this. It's a coal miner's steel glove, steel cage, tuxedo loser leaves town match. Yes, that's all one big giant gimmick. You get some let's see, Ted DiBiase, Matt Byrne versus Andre the Giant, Tony Atlas. You get some Magnum TA stuff. Really, what the DVD really shows throughout is that this was kind of a promotion for younger stars, and a lot of younger stars went off. Like I said, this too has you got what about Hacksaw Butch Reed? You got the Butch Reed versus Junkyard Dog feud, which is the first start, and then you get Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express, and you get their rivalry. You get 2 matches out of that. There's some Shawn Michaels stuff that, let's face it, no one's really going to care that much about because it's young Shawn Michaels. You get some Ric Flair stuff. You get Ric Flair versus Terry Taylor. I believe you also get Ric Flair versus Ted DiBiase, which is those are probably the 2 best matches on here. And then you get like the Blade Runners versus John O'Reilly and Ken Massey. I believe John O'Reilly, if I remember right. I think that's Shane Douglas. But you do get a Blade Runners match, which is pretty good. You get some Freebird stuff as well. There's lots of good stuff on this DVD. You won't see like match ratings because honestly, this is not something that you get it for the matches per se. You get it for the entertainment value, and I think once you start this DVD, it's very hard to stop. It's that good. I thoroughly recommend it. I think it's really good. I really do wish it had a true documentary, but WWE isn't doing on DVDs. They don't think are going to sell very well. They're not putting a lot of money into them. That's why, for example, the Triple H DVD, which they figured was going to sell very well, got apparently an awesome documentary on it. So type of thing. But anyways, go get this DVD. It's very good. And there will be New Japan stuff coming maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, but we will see. But anyways, go get this DVD. It's very good stuff.